Well, so in this video, we'll understand how we can create the test cases in the quality center and how we can map those test cases with the requirement, as well as we'll understand the different tabs available for our test case in quality center. Okay, so in order to create the test cases from in Quality Center, you need to go to the module is called Test Plan module. Okay, so the Test Plan module is the repository of the test cases, both for manual and automation. So this is where you're going to store your manual test cases and automation scripts. Okay, so to create the test cases from in the Quality Center test plan, and then what you need to do is just go to the test plan first, and then you need to select the folder where exactly that you need to create the test cases. Okay, right now, let's say I'm in release 2 now, and then I'm creating a folder called, maybe anything here. You say, uh, so I said create, okay, so create vacancy. Yeah, so create vacancy. That's I'm just creating a folder now. And after that, okay, so the folder we have got, in this folder we need to create the test cases. Okay, how do you create the test case in the QC again? And you select the folder in which folder you need to create the test case. And after that, you just need to click on the button called new test here. Okay. So as soon as you click on new test button, and it will display a window called, or the wizard you can say, called new test wizard. There it is asking for name of the test, which is mandatory to be provided, and I'll just give, you can say here, create a new vacancy. Okay, and yeah, so you can say create a new vacancy, and just given the name of the test case here, and then it will ask you to select the type, and by default it's a manual, or you can have different types here, business process, or like if you have QTP add-in, I mean UFT add-in, you will get something called quick test underscore test here. Like different testing, sorry, the test case types are there, but you select as manual here because you're going to create a manual, and remaining fields are optional like test priority or efforts and all. In case if required, then you can give, otherwise you leave it. And these fields can be customized by the administrator, so no need to worry on these fields as of now. And then you just click on OK. Now, so what exactly we did is just select the folder, you click on new test and give the name of the test case, and then you select the type and a type as a manual, and then say OK. That's it. So the test case has been created. Okay, so let me repeat the same thing again. You just select the folder, you click on new test, and then you say create a new vacancy with the duplicate name as negative test case. I'm just giving, so creating second test case. What exactly I did, select the folder, click on new test, and then give the give the name of the test case and select the type as manual, and then say okay. You can see the second test case also has been created. So like this, you can create a number of test cases, maybe in one folder, or you can select a other folder, and then you can do it, right? Okay. So now what you need to do is, after creating the test case, and this is a high-level test case created, a high-level test case in a sense without any steps in it. But once after you create the test cases, the ideal process that what we need to do is, after creating the high-level test cases, we need to map those test cases with the requirement. Then how do you map the test cases with the requirement? I think I already explained in other video, but I still show in this video as well. And to map the test case with the requirement, or a requirement with the test case, you do it in two ways. One is, okay, you go to the requirements module, then you say you select any of the requirement here. And I don't have that requirement, right? So let me do one thing. Say here, I'm just clicking on new requirement, but how do you create a requirement? I've already shown in another video, so that's the reason I'm not taking too much time in this. I'll just say here like vacancy. can say this is my requirement. Just forgive me in case if there are any spelling mistakes. And then you just click on you have created the requirement, and you click on the requirement ID here. Okay, you click on requirement ID. Then, so once after you click on requirement ID, it will display requirement details window and go to the test coverage here. And once after you go to the test coverage, this is where all the test cases, whatever mapped to the requirement, will be shown. Since no requirements or sorry, no test cases are there here, that means that no test cases have been mapped. But before that, just understand the status of the requirement. What's the status of the requirement here is not covered, right? Okay, so not covered means yeah, no test cases have been mapped with the test requirement. Okay, so what I need to do is now you just click on the requirement ID. It displays requirement details window, and you just select the test coverage here, and then you click on select button, and right side it will display the test plan tree and with all your test cases inside it. And you go to the folder where you have created the test case, and then you select the test case here and then you pull it. So a test case has been mapped with the requirement. This is one way of mapping the test cases with requirements. And now let's see the status of the requirement. What's the status of the requirement is no run now. So no run means there are some test cases mapped with the requirement, but none of the test case has been executed. Okay, so this is one way of mapping the test case with the requirement. And the other way of mapping the test case with the requirement is go to the test plan this time, select the test case, and then you have a tab called requirement coverage here. So wherever the mouse is, okay, then you select that, and then okay, so you can see, I mean, for this test case already mapped, and select the test second one, and just click on requirement coverage again, and see now there is no requirement here, right? And then you click on select requirement button here, right side it will display the list of requirements from requirement tree, and you just expand this all the requirements you can see, you select the requirement and then you can pull it. So this is the second way. So one way is you go to the requirement, you select the requirement and you map the test cases, whereas here you select the test case and then map the requirement to the test case. Okay, now so once after you map the test case with the requirement, then so what you need to do is you need to start writing the design steps. So for what we have done, we just created a test case, that's it. But a test case is not just only the name, right? So the test case also might contain the design steps. Okay. Now the question is, how do you write the design steps for a test case, right? Okay. So to write the design steps for a test case, you select the test case and you click on design steps. Okay, you click on design steps. Okay, right. So what I've done here is now I just clicked on design steps button, and then as soon as you select it, there are no steps as of now, and then you just click on new step button, and I just clicked on new step button here, and it will display design step details window. And then it has got three fields total. One is the name of the step, and second one is step description, and third one is expected result. And no actual result column and all will be coming here. Those will be displayed during the execution will be done in the test lab module, so that those fields will not come here. Okay, fine. So now you start writing the steps one by one. Okay, so now by default the step is sorry, the first step is step one. It will be given as the what is the description of the first step. Description is nothing but what step need to be executed, and you say like okay, so as usual launch the application and navigate URL. Forgive me in case if there are any spelling mistakes. So that's not matter for us now, the spelling mistakes. Okay, so now say URL. Now see this URL, you can give an URL directly here, but that URL might be keep changing every time for every execution. So that URL you might want to give during runtime, right? So instead of hard coding directly inside the step. So if you don't want to hard code the data inside the step, then that data should be, okay, parameterized through parameters. Then how do you create the parameters here? Then you say here there is something called insert parameter, or there is a tab called parameter here. Okay, so this parameters tab is used to create the parameters and then insert those parameters in the test. Why do you need to do that? Because the data will be keep changing, not all the data, some data. So whatever the data is changing, then instead of directly writing it, you have to pass the data through the parameters. Okay, so now since the URL is keep changing every time for every release, then what I'm doing is, instead of directly writing here, I'm creating a parameter. So there are no parameters created as of now. You just click on new parameter, then you say URL is a parameter, and then you click on OK. So the URL parameter has been created here. Then what's the expected result? And you say, okay, so application should be launched and navigated to URL, right? Sorry, navigated to login page. Then you click on new step. So it will create one more step now. Step 2 has been created, write it. Then you say enter below details. Okay, so now username as, so username also will be keep changing, right? So I'm just passing the username through a parameter. So the use of this parameter you can see during the execution, may not be now. And you say password as, you create a parameter here and then say new parameter and then password, then okay. And then you say and click on login button. And then you say login should be successful. And you can create third step here. Then you say click on recruitment link and then references link. Then it should say, okay, so it should, application should be navigated to vacancies page and all the existing vacancies should get displayed, and so on. You can keep writing the steps and all, that's fine. Now then I'm just stopping at third step, and you can see the test case has been created here with 3 steps. Okay, so now what exactly we did is it just created a test case by clicking on new test button, and after that we mapped the test case with the requirement by going through the by going to requirements module and then selecting the test coverage tab in the requirement details window, and then mapping the test case. Or the other way of mapping the test case with the requirement is, in the test plan you select the requirement and then, sorry, you select the test case and then go to the requirement coverage tab and then you select the requirement and then you pull it. So that's how normally we did. After creating the requirement and then, sorry, after mapping the requirement with the test case, and then we have designed the steps. We have created the design steps here. How did we create the design steps? You click on design step button, sorry, design step tab, and then you click on new step button, and then it will display new step window, and then you enter the description of the step and then expect the result of every step. In case if you feel that the data is keep changing, then don't hard code the data, and then what you need to do is you need to uh, pass that data, you need to insert the parameter instead of writing the data directly there. So those parameters will be shown during the execution in the test lab. Okay, so which you will understand when we are executing the test cases, right? So this is one way of creating the test case. And the other way is I have got another video where we export the test cases from Excel to QC, and you can see that video. Okay, so now let's understand one more. I mean, let me create one more design steps for one more test case. Then what you do is you just select the test case and you click on design steps tab here, and then you click on okay, you click on a new step button here, and so this is what I'm talking about, new step button. Then you click on new step button, it will display design step details window, and you give the details here. Then you say like, okay, so the first step is maybe anything. I'm just giving some junk step here, no problem, but anything that you can give, no issues. And you click on new step again, then step 2 is inserted. Now you say here this step requires some parameters. Then how do you insert the parameter? You just click on insert parameter. By default no parameters are there in this test case. You can create a parameter is test, and then say okay, that parameter, the parameter will be inserted in you know uh, 3 greater than and 3 less than symbols in between. Okay, you can give any actual result here, sorry, expected result here, and then click on OK. So this is how normally you just create the test case, and which is very simple. Or other way, I mean, the parameters you can directly create while inserting it, or you can create the parameters directly in the parameters tab. Parameters tab is used to create the parameters or maintain the parameters. You can create the parameters before here, and then while creating the step you can select them. Okay, so then attachments tab is used to uh, if you have any attachments for this test case, like maybe some screenshot document or requirement document or any other thing. Okay, then so we can attach here the test configurations. You leave it for now, I'll be coming back again. And requirement coverage tab is used to see what requirement has been linked with this particular test case, nothing but what requirement has been mapped. Linked defects you leave it for now, and in case if you found this test case found any defects, then you might need to link little later for some reporting. Dependencies and business models not required. History is quite common, just to track like how the status is being changed and from when the status has been changed and all. So these are some tabs available here for the test case. Okay, and now the another thing that you should know while creating the test case is some of the the buttons you can see under design steps, right? Okay, so this button is a new step, and which will be used to create a new step, and this is for you know edit step. I mean, obviously the name whatever it says tells us to edit the step. Okay, so that's for editing the step. And this one is renumber the step. That means that, okay, see, let's say here, if you have any jumbling in the number, like you say here, and say if you have any jumbling, if you say renumber, you can see here, like it will create the step numbers in a sequential. That's this button, and this obviously the icon itself says it. And delete selected, in a sense whatever the step is you have selected here will be deleted. Paste, in a sense like if you have copied the steps from other test case, that will be pasted. Attachment, in a sense, okay, this attachment is for test case level, and this attachment is for step level. Only for this step it will be attached. Okay, and this is for call to test. Okay, so which will be explained in a different video. And this is for if you want to convert this test case into automation, then you can select this. Okay, so to convert into an automation. and this is for inserting the parameters if required, and this is for finding the text, and this is for selecting the columns. Okay, if you say that no, not all the columns are required here, by default only three columns will be there, something called step name, description, and expected result. And if you want more columns, your administrator can do it. Or if you say that no, these three columns I don't want, only two columns you need, then what you can do, you just select it on the column section, you can link here, but it will not be now because those are the default and mandatory columns to be displayed. And this is adjust rows, nothing but to adjust the row height and all here. And save steps, in a sense, if you have done any modifications to save it, ideally it's auto save, but if you have anything need to be saved, you can do it. Move, in a sense, changing the position of the steps, like you can bring down or you can bring to the top, all those. Okay, so this is for downloading the test case. Okay, those steps into the local system, but somehow it is not working as of now. So this is about the creating the test case in ALM.